What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today, here we are to talk about the brand new KIZUNA Clash versus Blackbeard that's going to be coming out very shortly. So in this video, we're going to go through some, accessible teams, and also teams that I'm thinking in my head that I may actually end up using against these upcoming bosses here. So we're just going to straight into it. The first one here, though, is against the Int boss. I should have the information up on the side, so you guys should go ahead and have a look at it. But for Battle 1, there is going to be Powerhouse, Fighter, and Slashers receiving the cooldowns. And then on Battle 2, there's 5 turns of attack down. And also, when you defeat the boss, your top right character is blown away for 4 turns. This really sucks, and honestly I think a lot of people are going to hate this KIZUNA because of these stupid actions that occur on Battle 2 on 2 of these fights. This one in particular is really bad because it means that your captain is blown away, so there are only really a couple of ways that you can kind of deal with that. If you have a unit that can switch into the captain spot to tank the blowaway, that is probably the best way to deal with that. Alternatively, you have a captain that can resist blowaway, but in terms of captains that can resist blowaway that also give you cooldown in this quest, there aren't a lot of good ones that you would really want to be actively using here. So ultimately, there's not a lot of good ways to get around it. So the best way, in my opinion, especially in terms of the accessible way, is to go ahead and actually use a character that can switch into the captain position and tank the blowaway. And then when you move into the final stage, that character is switched out, and then you get your normal captain back. So that's why we're using the Cypherpole 9 character on this team, because they have the ability to switch into the captain position. They will receive cooldown at the start of the quest too, which is great. And then you move into the final stage and Jack will be your captain once again. Jack's special is very good for Battle 2 as well, because it can remove the attack down, and it also provides a color affinity boost to Strength, Powerhouse, and Driven characters, which is the whole team. So that works out effectively. Now you may be wondering why we have 2 different types of characters on the team. We've got both Strength units and we have Psi units. Well, the issue here is when you reach the boss stage, he actually will have the ability to change type. So he can either stay as Int, or he can become a Dex character. So it is actually ideal to have characters that are multiple different types, so that you can have, type advantage against multiple different enemies. So that is really bad, and they did type change in a previous KIZUNA. I believe it was the one with the Toby Ropo. And the fact that they did that, a lot of people hated it. A lot of people expressed their concerns about type change in KIZUNA, and they've done it once again. So it's very disappointing, the fact that they've done gimmicks such as this, because it just makes team building way more annoying. But either way, in terms of the other gimmicks, there's going to be damage reduction for 5 turns, which is why we have the Rare Recruit Queen on the team. Here's the Psi unit, who is relatively old at this point, so that's why I've chucked him on the quote-unquote accessible team. He also gives you a chain lock, which is pretty decent. You've also got bind to your top right, your middle left, and your bottom right character, which is why we have the Charlotte Linlin, who can also provide us with an attack boost for our powerhouse characters, but also removes 6 turns of bind, despair, and attack down, so that's really good. In terms of paralysis, we have the Katakuri. Now, the paralysis will only occur after level 30, but having a character available to do that is obviously great. And the bind is only for 6 turns, but then after level 30, it will become an 8-turn bind, which means it's only 5-turn removal that you actually need. Either way, Charlotte Linlin deals with all of that, and all of this packaged up together with a friend Captain Kaido, which boosts the whole team, and it just ends up working relatively effectively, of course, and we have both Psi and Strength characters to deal with whatever color the boss will actually turn into. Now, in terms of another team that I am thinking for this quest, I think that honestly this team is going to be able to beat it. Now, not all the characters actually receive the cooldown at the start of the quest, however, they are fully charged, I believe, due to the fact that they are on the boosted list for this KIZUNA, because they are obviously the most recent released batch. Now, I believe Double Sengoku should be able to deal with this. Now, on Battle 2, where we get attacked down and, the character on the top right is going to be blown away, ideally we just use Aokiji special. He'll become the captain, and then after we kill that boss, he's going to blow away Aokiji, and then after we move on to the next stage, Aokiji will become the sub, Sengoku will be returning as our captain. Now, one thing that a lot of people may ask is that why would you even use this team, because one of your characters gets blown away? Well, I did some testing, and it turns out that Sengoku's special does still activate even if one of your characters is blown away, so he's still going to be able to trigger the 4 times attack and orb boost for our team, which is fantastic. So it means that we can use the special ability on Sengoku to be the attack booster, or we can use it on Akainu to be the attack booster, which will give us, the huge type advantage against either the Int boss or the Dex boss. The damage reduction, we have Fuji for, the bind, we have Akainu for, the paralysis, I think also, I think Kizaru deals with the paralysis if I remember correctly. So ideally, all the specials are all useful in this quest to take on this fight. I believe this is probably the most ideal team to take on this fight, or like this is the quote-unquote recommended team. But then again, if you have the KIZUNA boosters, that definitely changes up your team composition a lot. But I'm going to try this team out, and hopefully it works against the boss. Moving on to the second battle now, this one's going to be against the Psy boss, and once again we do have multiple different colors, which is a bit annoying, but we have Powerhouse Fighter and Cerebral characters receiving cooldown. On Battle 2, there's going to be 5 turns of defense up, and after you kill the boss on Battle 2, a random character on your bottom row will be switched into the captain position for 4 turns. Once again, Sengoku is probably going to be ideal for this with his Recruit batch, as they can just straight up deal with that. But in this team composition, you can either tank that to make sure one of your bottom row characters becomes the captain, or in this team comp that we have here, we can use Sanji's jump effect to completely avoid the captain swap altogether. So you make sure before you kill Battle 2, you the jump with Sanji, you kill the boss, you cannot be captain swapped. You move into the final stage, and Sanji will have the multiplied attack, which is really great. Now once again, this boss will also type change. You can either have the Psy boss as per usual, or he will be a quick boss. So you want to have Dex characters if he becomes quick, or you want to have Int characters if he stays as a Psy character. Now there is poison immunity and defense down immunity, but it looks like potentially you can use a delayed conditional special, which is kind of interesting. There is 5 turns of paralysis as well, which is why we have the Sabo on the team. And the Bonnie, by the way, is why she's here basically to deal with Battle 2 with the increased defense. But there is also 5 turns of damage threshold, and then after level 30, there's 5 turns of damage reduction, and Reiju deals with both of those, which is fantastic. The Luffy, the Inter Luffy on the team, deals with the attack down, and also provides us with an attack boost for our team. And then with the friend captain Luffy, he provides us with a full board of slots. He also will give us the huge orb boost to our fighter and free spirit characters. And because we have Sanji on our team, we'll be able to activate his superclass special to give us a, I think it's a, what does he actually do? He buffs the orb boost, right? I believe he buffs the orb boost. Yeah, and he gives the fighter and free spirit characters the 1000 base attack. So that's actually massive, and that's going to be giving us a pretty huge damage increase. We cannot get the super tandem to activate, of course, but either way, this is going to be able to probably deal with this for a pretty long amount of time, and it does deal with all the gimmicks after level 30 as well. And then once again, I'm really interested to try this team out against the Psy boss as well. So this is the exact same team as the versus Int boss, but I believe it should also get the job done. Because a lot of the gimmicks in this KIZUNA are, you know, either 5 turns or less, like these characters just work for it, and I kind of mentioned it in the KIZUNA download video, that it is weird that these rare recruits that they're releasing just only do 5 turns, because typically it's 5 turns of debuffs, and then after level 30 it becomes a 6 turn debuff. But they've gone a really different route this time around, which is really interesting. But either way, on Battle 2, there's going to be increased defense, and Akainu does deal with that, which means that we don't get his conditional boost on the final stage, so that is a little bit less damage than what we would have liked, but we still get all of the other specials on the final stage, which is pretty good. So of course, you can either use the special on the Fujitora to give him the attack boost, or you can use it on the Kizaru if he becomes a quick character. And then of course, you know, there will be the ability of the enemy switching our captain, but if we use a Akainu special to deal with the defense up, he will actually stay as the captain. We can tank the captain swap, move into the final stage, and then we can make either Fujitora or Kizaru become the captain, and then when we do that, we can activate their color affinity boost, which will give them a huge damage increase. We have the, what's his name? Kuzan. Kuzan can also buff the attack and orb boost that the Sengoku will actually give us as well. The attack down is also dealt with via the Kuzan special, damage reduction via Fujitora. The threshold is dealt with by Kuzan as well. So Kuzan's very, very key for this fight. Deals with a lot of the different debuffs. Paralysis by the Kizaru. So yeah, all of these characters just deal with the debuffs, and then using Sengoku's huge attack and orb boost, and then obviously the super types of these units giving them the color affinity. Hopefully this should also deal with this fight too. And then we move on to the final boss, which is versus the Strength boss, where Quick, Dex, and Psy characters receive the cooldown, and on Battle 2, there is a 50% damage reduction to your team, and or 50% damage done to your team. So your health is cut in half. And then there's 5 turns of Rainbow Shield on the enemy side of the field, and that's why I have Queen on this team. Queen deals with 5 turns of Rainbow Shield. And then the final boss has immunity, defense up, and attack down. So the defense up and attack down are only 4 turns, so it's relatively easy to deal with that. And then after level 30, there is a lot of additional effects, where there is 5 turns of threshold added on top of that. There is also 1 turn additional given to defense up and attack down, which now becomes 5 turns of defense up and attack down. And then there is also a defeat action. When you kill the boss of the strength boss, he will deal 80,000 damage to your crew. Now, Rare Recruit, or Legend Hina should I say, is going to be exceptional for this fight because her captain ability is just amazing, but her special ability deals with essentially everything. It deals with the defense up, it deals with the attack down, it also provides you with damage reduction so you can tank the defeat action. It also gives you an orb boost to your quick, cerebral, and striker characters. If you have double Hina, you can also get an attack boost to your striker and your cerebral characters as well. So that all works pretty good. Now we still have to deal with the threshold, which is why Doflamingo is here. Doflamingo will provide us with the ability to remove that damage threshold. We have King. King on this team provides us with an attack boost as well after the 12th combo hit, but both Doflamingo and King will change adjacent slots into matching so we can get a full board of matching slots for our crew. Hyogoro provides us with a color affinity boost, and then Uta is just a relatively good captain, and also when we use her special, she gets the buffed captain. Her special provides the chain boost as well, the really exceptional chain boost. So this is a really accessible team, I would say. I mean, it's all free-to-play units, aside from the friend captain Hina, and this team should actually deal a really good amount of damage. But of course, utilizing Hina as the friend is going to be the best case scenario here because it just deals with all of the different debuffs. And then of course we have my other team for the versus strength fight, and with this one I'm just using double Hina with the boosters of Toadskii and Smoker. These characters all provide a lot of increased damage to the crew. You've got Smoker, which gives you color affinity and resistance down, and then Toadskii gives you chain boundary and a chain boosting effect, and then Hina and Hina themselves provide with the orb boost, the attack boost, and the gimmick removal, but you just kind of have to fill in the gaps with the additional effects. So one thing in particular is on Battle 2, we don't deal with the damage reduction, so that's why Komurasaki is on the team. And then on the final stage, there is damage threshold, which is why we have the Shank's special ability, because we will have a chain boost and we will have color affinity from the Smoker and the Toadskii. So by using Shank's special, he will enable us to remove the damage threshold. And I mean, realistically, you could kind of build your team in a way where you can chuck in like the free-to-play Uta potentially, and you could maybe get the Super Tandem to activate too, if you wanted to build a team down that way, and that probably will be the best team in terms of damage. Remember, this is only a 10-star difficulty, this is not a super boss, so you don't have to go above and beyond to add like billions and billions of damage to your team. The boss just doesn't scale that way on 10-star difficulty. But either way, this is just a team that should be able to get the job done, and I'll probably just try out and see how it goes. But of course, if you have the boosters as friend captains, it's probably going to be your best route to build teams with those characters in mind, so that you can use those characters to get additional tickets to get through the KIZUNA just a little bit more efficiently. So with all of that being said, that's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching, and if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.